Good afternoon. It's 1 p.m. here in Israel. This is the Daily Beat live on I-24 News. I'm Ayman Siksik. We begin in the UK. A British High Court has ruled against Theresa May's motion to bypass Parliament when she triggers Britain's exit from the European Union. 3 judges decided a historic case to hand members of Parliament and peers the opportunity to challenge or even delay the Brexit process. The decision in the legal case to determine whether the Prime Minister can use the royal prerogative to invoke Article 50 without the involvement of Parliament came after weeks of argument. Let's cross now to London, where we're joined by our correspondent in the British capital, Jonathan Sacerdoti. Jonathan, so we have a court decision now. What is next now that the judgment has found against the government's decision to trigger Article 50 in March 2017 without a parliamentary vote?
The government always said that they believed that it had the option of triggering Article 50 using something called royal prerogative. But this has shown that the courts do not believe that that's the case, and that there needs to be a vote in Parliament so that MPs get to say whether or not the triggering of Article 50 should take place. Now, you've got to remember that MPs will be voting on something that the British public have voted for already, and a majority of the British public said that they wanted Article 50 to be triggered. What that means is that the government's now going to go on and fight this in the Supreme Court. They've said that they wish to challenge the decision of the court today, and that time has been put aside in December so that this can be expedited, so there can be more legal discussion. However, it does seem very unlikely, given how definitive the finding was in today's case, that this will change. And if that's the case, this will be moving towards a vote in Parliament. And then the question will be whether or not the majority of MPs, even if they personally were for remaining within the EU, will want to contradict the will of the British people, which was expressed clearly in a referendum given to them.
Now, speaking of the will of the British people, Jonathan, the case has focused on the government's quote-unquote prerogative powers. What are those powers? Maybe we should explain, and why has this been so controversial?
So prerogative power is something that dates back to the time when the monarch had more power in the country and was able to make decisions almost arbitrarily, let's say, or without at least the agreement of government, of Parliament rather. Nowadays, that's more used in issues of foreign policy or foreign treaties, and that's why the government had argued that they were able to trigger Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty for the beginning of negotiation for Britain to leave the EU. They said it was a foreign policy issue. It came in the terms of the original Act of Parliament, which saw Britain join the EU. However, the court has said that there is nothing in that Act from the 70s that allows them to do that, and that in the view of the law, this is something that they can't do. So prerogative has been challenged in this instance. It doesn't mean that the principle has been challenged. It's just that it can't apply, they say in the courts, to this particular news item, this particular move for the British Constitution.
Another turn of events in the Brexit saga. Jonathan Sacerdoti joining us from London. Thank you very much for this.